Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs, and this is a fight that there's no date set. There was going to be a purse bid, but that purse bid was canceled because apparently, and I really don't know all the ins and outs of how it works for titles and all that stuff because there's so many of them and it's so hard to keep up. But apparently, I guess if sides in a negotiation cannot agree, there will be a purse bid to allow to get the fight made. And what is happening here is there is not going to be a purse bid because the camps are agreeing on things, so they're just going to probably make the fight. And I think Errol Spence versus Kell Brook is a very good fight. In a lot of ways, I think this could be a very big thing for both fighters. For Errol Spence, kind of beating a guy like Kell Brook, who's super duper good, even though he's coming off a loss to Gennady Golovkin. It sort of, for Kell Brook, it forces the hand of Amir Khan, because Amir Khan, does he want to fight him? Does he not want to fight him? Does Kell Brook not want to fight him? I don't know what the whole deal is there. I just want to get to the fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Kell Brook. So let's do that right now. We can see that Kell Brook is 3 years older. They have the same height, the same weight. I made them both 147. I figured Brook coming down from middleweight after fighting Gennady Golovkin would probably be, probably right at the limit, maybe a little less. Hopefully not too much less. That could be a sign of overtraining. Kell Brook has the longer reach, 72 inches. And Brook has 15 more fights, and Brook does have the one knockout or the one TKO loss to Errol Spence. And as you can see here, this fight's scheduled for 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds, 10-point must system, no mandatory 8 count, 3 knockdown rule waived. And here, let's get this on simulation mode. And let's begin. Errol Spence Jr. versus Kell Brook. I think we're going to see a very interesting boxing match. It could be a chess match. Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't be. Both these guys are coming out trying to do certain things. Brook wants to, make a statement. He's on the left side. I'm sorry, on the right side of the screen. He wants to show Errol Spence Jr., hey, I'm coming off a loss, but I still have it. And so he's taking on a young lion in the division. Errol Spence, on the other hand, hello? What's up? You have to do that while I was recording. Now I have to start over. Oh, man. You know what? I'm just going to leave that in. There are some people that are rude, and they've felt the need to bother me during my podcast. But we're gonna leave it in. We're just gonna leave it in here. We have Errol Spence Jr. on the left side of the screen, Kell Brook on the right side of the screen, and as you can see, Brook is backing up Spence to the ropes. He's landing his right hand. His left hand. He's trying to control it, and then Spence comes over the top with a nice right hand. This is super duper impressive from both fighters, and basically, what we're seeing is just both of them really trying to impose the will that they have on the other guy. And right now, Brook is doing a lot of good work, just kind of giving him movement, giving him angles, not giving Brook that much to hit. And at the same time, though, Brook is throwing a lot of punches and in a lot of ways controlling sort of the pace of the fight as we head into the final minute of the first round. And Brook, as you see, Spence throwing a right hand. He's throwing a couple of them. And Brook goes back to throwing that left jabs. Errol Spence is a southpaw, so for him, his power hand is going to be his left hand, and Brook, as you know, orthodox, has his right hand that he is using in this fight to hopefully try and do some damage against Errol Spence. I don't know if I said this in the beginning. My name is Evan Jacobs. You can follow me on Instagram at BoxingTimeWithEvan is my handle. Please do. Please share this page with your friends. Let's get some Let's get a bunch of subscribers. And if there's any fights that you want to see, please let me know in the comment section or email me. Or you can also, if you friend me on Instagram, send me a direct message saying, hey, this is the fight I want to see. I just did a couple for some people that contacted me and that there were fights that they wanted to see. That round, I'm not going to lie, I give it to Brook. I think that is good. I think Brook was busier. He controlled the tempo of the fight. But one judge made it even between Spence and Brook. So let's go right now into the second round. And Kell Brook catching Errol Spence. This is how interesting fights are made. You know, you have two styles that contrast each other, and but both fighters are being busy. And you see Brook going to the body there of Errol Spence, and Spence is trying to be the aggressor. He lands a nice right hand right there that certainly gets Kell Brook's attention. And yes, so you know, as I'm watching this, you know, we all know that a southpaw is someone who's left-handed, and so basically he's a left-handed fighter who leads with his right hand. I just wanted to make sure that I had that correctly. This is kind of late that I'm doing this. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just got rattled by someone that walked into my house, and I wasn't expecting them to come home and start turning on lights and, you know, just being very rude and very disrespectful. We'll deal with them later. Oh man, you can see Kell Brook kept catching Errol Spence with a nice left hand, and now he's throwing the right hand, and he's negating Errol Spence at this point, you know, and I'm saying it's early in the fight, and you know nothing has been established here. You know, Kell Brook had won that round and is ahead by 2 points on the judges scorecard, but that doesn't really mean anything. And this fight's being fought at such a fast pace. You know, we're going through these rounds. We're almost out of the second round now, and these guys are going for it. Errol Spence throwing a bit more, taking a few more chances. You have Kell Brook going to the body, and that's something that's noticeable here. We need to pay attention to that. By going to the body, Kell Brook is taking away a lot of the athleticism and movement, or he can take away a lot of that of Errol Spence, because Spence wants to move. He wants to give Brook angles, and he wants to set him up with shots. And Brook wants to do the same thing. I think Brook wants to do that in a subtler way. And both these guys are landing well. They're landing well, and you know, this is how really good fights happen. You know, like I've said, I'm not the only person who said this, but when two fighters can sort of basically when they can both fight the fight that they want to fight, that is how you end up seeing a really good contest. So right now, once again, saying both fighters are breathing heavy. Two of the judges give it to Kell Brook in that round. One judge gives it to Errol Spence. So this is a closely contested fight. Spence down by 3 points on the judge's scorecard. He comes out. Oh, look at him. He's landing. He threw 3 punches and he landed 3 punches, and he's got Kell Brook's attention. And Kell Brook is continuing to throw his punches. And these guys, I got to be honest, they're brawling more than I thought that they would. And part of me thinks that does favor Kell Brook a little more than Errol Spence. I thought Errol Spence would be on his bicycle more, boxing, setting up shots. But as you can see, Kell Brook is you know, he seems to be getting the fight that he wants out of this. I mean, I could be wrong about that. I mean, you know, this is just a simulation, but I have to believe that there's a kernel of truth in seeing these fights. And you see Kell Brook going to the body again, and every few punches he throws a body shot. Those body punches are landing, so he does not have Errol Spence thinking about that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's throwing a left jab. He's keeping Errol Spence at bay. And Errol Spence is, that's one thing. Errol Spence kind of, I think, felt maybe like he was sort of in a bit of a minor, like weird sort of doldrum state, and he kind of tried to punch his way out of it right there. And you're seeing Kell Brook keeping him on the end of his punches, and Errol Spence is gonna have to figure that out, because right there again, Kell Brook is going to the body, and it's going to become easier and easier the more he lands to the body for Kell Brook to force Errol Spence to fight him, and then ultimately I think Kell Brook will probably box and just outbox Errol Spence if that is his strategy, whereas Errol Spence wants to be moving more and moving side to side and giving angles, and I mean, nothing is set in this fight yet. Still a very, very close contest, but both these fighters are landing a lot of punches. They're throwing a high volume of punches, and they're throwing hard punches. So we're in the final minute of this fight. Errol Spence on the left side of the screen, Kell Brook on the right. My name is Evan Jacobs. You're watching Boxing Time TV. You can follow me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. Please do. Please comment. Please. I love the engagement. I'll try to answer every comment. I will answer every comment. Kell Brook going to the body again. And Errol Spence, trying to establish some distance. But the problem is when he's at a distance, that's giving Kell Brook the ability to go to the body. So we will have to see what the judges say after this round. But I think Kell Brook took that round. Well, the judges and I disagree. The judge has it even. Another judge has it even. So they thought that Spence did better in that round. So now it's Errol Spence has 86. Kell Brook has 88. Wow! And Kell Brook comes out, lands a couple of hard shots, almost like he knows that the judges kind of swayed that round for him, or at least one of them did. And the thing is that, I mean, he's landing hard shots. If he gets, he starts getting Errol Spence against the ropes, it becomes a different fight entirely. But now you have Spence digging to the body. Spence has to know. He has to know that he's in a tough fight tonight. He has to know that he's in against maybe the best welterweight in the world. Some people think that it's Keith Thurman. Some people think that it's Danny Garcia. Some people think it's Sean Porter. Some people think it's Kell Brook. And some people think it's eventually going to be Errol Spence. The question is, right now, what do we have in front of us? What are we seeing? What are the intangibles? And I'm telling you, I like what I'm seeing from both fighters. I just think Errol Spence, what's hurting him is he needs to be busier. He's not being busy enough, and in those moments, Brook's throwing punches, and even though maybe they're not being as effective, he's throwing. All right, these two guys engaging one another. Wow, what a ripping uppercut Kell Brook landed, and then Errol Spence landing there with a nice left hand. Errol Spence trying to set up that left hand. He leads with his right, as we know. We just had the southpaw discussion, and I really hope that in reality, not just in the simulation, obviously, that these camps can get together, because it could be a really good fight. It would be a really good fight. And we have right here, we're heading into the final minute of this round. Errol Spence on the left side of the screen, Kell Brook on the right side of the screen. And you're hearing those punching sounds. You're hearing that land. These guys are throwing a lot of punches. And Spence backs Brook up a little bit. Kell Brook just popped him one. But man, Errol Spence, maybe youth will be served. Maybe he's starting to feel, find his rhythm. He's made Brook miss a little bit more, although Brook just cracked him right there with a nice right hand. We will have to see as we're heading into the final 30 seconds now. These guys are very evenly matched, I think. I think that this is a good fight. I think this is a solid welterweight fight. Errol Spence going to the body, setting up his punches. But one thing I like about what Brook's doing, similar to what Errol Spence did, when he gets hit, he answers. He answers, and when Brook is staying in this fight because of that, Brook just takes an uppercut right there after landing some punches. We'll see what the judges say now. This is a very close contest. They're saying Errol Spence is tired, and they gave that round to Kell Brook. I thought that was Errol Spence's maybe his best round, and two of the judges gave it to Kell Brook. So Kell Brook now is up by 4 points, and he comes out, and Spence is coming out landing to the body, and we're gonna it's interesting the way these judges say it. It's interesting the way these judges play it, and we're gonna have to see where this goes from here. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Kell Brook landing a long left, but Errol Spence coming back with body shots, and these guys are just going for it. Oh wow! You have Errol Spence landing an uppercut, and I think if this is how the real fight goes, fans are going to be very, very entertained. This is the kind of thing. I don't know that I expect a knockout. I mean, the way these guys fight, how good a condition these guys are in. I think that this is a distance fight, both in reality and on this game. Even though these guys are both throwing a lot of hard leather, these guys are both landing a lot of hard leather, and I think Errol Spence he's winning this round. He's counterpunching well. He's landing more. And if anyone looks like he's slowing a bit, it looks like it's Kell Brook. But the judges did not see it that way. And we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see how this goes, the way that this contest goes. Once again, my name is Evan Jacobs. You are watching Boxing Time TV. My handle on Instagram is @BoxingTimeWithEvan. And once again, thank you for watching. I think this is a very interesting fight, and it's the kind of fight that doesn't always happen in boxing. And it's the kind of thing. We have a very good welterweight division, as I mentioned. Those fighters, we have Errol Spence, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia. I mean, we have very, 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 it's a stacked division. And there's guys coming up, and even you look at junior middleweight, who's ruling the roost there, and welterweight, and then junior welterweight, you have Terrence Crawford. Oh wow, Errol Spence wobbled Kell Brook for a bit there, and landed a nice body shot, and then tries to get some distance on his shots. And I'm telling you, I think Errol Spence is slowly finding his rhythm. I think that he is figuring Kell Brook out a little bit at the same time that Kell Brook's kind of figuring him out a little bit, and we're getting a very good fight. We'll see what the judges say. We're in the final 10 seconds now, and oh wow, Spence just missed getting cracked with an uppercut. Wow, that was a good. Now they're saying that both fighters are tired. They gave that round to Errol Spence. I'm not surprised. Spence just landed more. He wobbled him. He hurt him. Let's see what happens now. Kell Brook is only ahead by 1 point, 144 to 145. Errol Spence working his way back into the fight. Oh wow, he's counterpunching Kell Brook now, and that's one thing. Kell Brook's going to have to figure that out. He's going to have to figure out how not to be counterpunched. Not to be counterpunched. Not to be counterpunched. Another thing that I think is very, very interesting is Errol Spence is really getting the distance on his punches. He's fighting. He's utilizing a lot of distance, and Brook is able to reach him, but it's certainly not as much. And Errol Spence is very comfortable fighting this way, and it's going to be now up to Kell Brook to figure that out. How does he get inside that distance? We're halfway through the fight. He's expended a lot of energy. He threw a lot of punches early. He could be tiring a bit. They had been fighting at a fairly frenetic pace. These rounds have just been clicking by. So, oh wow, Kell Brook going to the body. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. He's wobbled. Kell Brook is wobbled now. Errol Spence picking his punches well. He for a second I thought he was going to drop him. But man, he is not. And you have Kell Brook roaring back. Kell Brook does not want to lose this fight. especially coming off a loss to Gennady Golovkin. Kell Brook wants to very much win this fight and show everyone that he's still a factor in boxing. Um, Although one has to wonder, why would he take a bout with such a tough guy so soon after a loss to Gennady Golovkin? Right now, I'm looking up Kell Brook. I'm just double checking to make sure that he has not had any fights since this. And Kell Brook's taking a lot of punches from Errol Spence right now. Errol Spence is just loving this. Errol Spence is utilizing pretty solid defense, although he just gets cracked right there after I say it. And yeah, he's taking this fight right after the Golovkin fight. So we'll log off of this. All right. We have Errol Spence now, just doing everything that he can to try to keep his momentum going. Brook fought gallantly. I still think that round goes to Errol Spence. They're saying that both fighters are tired, and the one judge is giving it to Errol Spence, one judge is giving it to Kell Brook, and another judge has it even. So this is a 1-point fight right now. Now it's just a 6-round fight basically. So this is we're through the first half of the fight, and Brook is coming out and he's trying to land, and he got wobbled in that round, but the judges didn't really seem to think too much of it, and this is Spence has wobbled him twice so far in this fight. Spence really has some real power, and Brook's trying to get him against the ropes. He's trying to land some shots. It's a question of, will Errol Spence let him do that? And Errol Spence is just counterpunching him right now in this corner. He's using distance, and he's using a tight defense, and he is just busting Kell Brook up. But like I said, it is a 6-round fight. And it's the kind of thing that if Kell Brook starts getting if Errol Spence starts getting tired, Kell Brook just has to lock up, 3-4 rounds, and he wins. It's interesting how boxing can be a 12-round fight, but what it ultimately comes down to is that, it's ultimately, how the judges score and how they see it. Oh, look at that. Kell Brook just, he seems to have gotten his mojo back a little bit, throwing more shots, although he just got cracked with a body shot and the right hand to the face. And, Kell Brook, Errol Spence did, really placing his punches well, really trying to be economical with them, not trying to expend any energy. Errol Spence knew when he took this fight he was going to be put in tougher than he probably ever was going to be put in. And so it's the kind of thing that now Kell Brook has him on the ropes. Kell Brook, but he's not doing anything, and he's but I say that, and then he just slams Errol Spence into the ropes. So this is one of those things where Errol Spence, has fought his way back into the fight. He's still behind by 1 point, but that can go either way. This fight could be a draw, and this is turning into a very interesting fight. And what I find even more interesting is maybe both these guys are tired, because even though Brook has him against the ropes, he's not really landing, and Errol Spence is doing a bit more posing than he was doing, although he did land a nice left hand to the body there that I'm sure got Kell Brook's attention. And now he lands a right hand, and Kell Brook lands a left hand, and these guys are fighting at the highest level, and this is just incredible to watch, incredible to see, incredible to call. And oh man, look at that, he is just pounding on Errol Spence now. If I'm Kell Brook, I go to the body, because he wants to keep it so that Errol Spence stays there. I think that round could have been even. I don't think Kell Brook really came on until the end, although the judges are giving it to Kell Brook by a big margin. 8 points, 10-8 on one judge's scorecard, 10-9 on the other. Let's head into the 8th round right now. and see what happens. Oh man, Kell Brook coming out with a right hand. Kell Brook really is I mean, a really sensational boxer, and he's landing a left hand, and I think he thinks that he may have Errol Spence where he wants him, and I think he's setting him up with that left hand, and he's going to drop a right hand on Errol Spence that Spence is not expecting. I think that's his plan. Whether it's going to happen is ultimately up to both fighters. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's just throwing out shots, and Kell Brook just threw an uppercut, and he threw a right hand, and that right hand just landed flush on the jaw of Errol Spence. And he's trying to go to the body now, and it's almost like Kell Brook is doing to Errol Spence what Errol Spence was doing to him for a little bit. And, maybe for Errol Spence, I mean, he's doing well. He's not out of this fight at all, although he's behind by 5. And he wobbles Kell Brook again. He wobbles just when Brook is really getting some momentum going. These guys are just trading. This is incredible. This is just fantastic boxing action. This is what you want to see. He wobbles him. He wobbles Errol Spence. And, what I was going to say is, maybe this was a little too soon for Errol Spence, but not by much. Both fighters wobbling each other. This has been a heck of an 8th round. And these guys have got to be tired. They have got to be spent. We're heading into the final minute of the ninth round. And they're both not really throwing a lot of punches. They're just kind of feinting and giving each other movement, posing in front of each other. And I can't say that I blame them. We have seen such an incredible contest, and this is really anyone's fight. And I mean, man, just as Kell Brook starts getting going, Spence wobbles him and hurts him, and then just as Spence starts to move forward, man, Kell Brook just keeping him at a distance, and he's counterpunching Kell Brook now. And he's setting him up with a lot of shots, and gone is a lot of the boxing acumen that we know these two fighters have, and they're just brawling. They are going for it, something that I don't think a lot of people thought that they were going to see. And, I think of the two guys, I think Errol Spence may have been more hurt than Kell Brook's been hurt in this fight, even though Kell Brook has been wobbled more. Heading into the final 10 seconds now. Once again, you're watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs. Please find me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. All right, let's see how the judges score that round. That was an incredible round. They're saying that Brook has a cut over his eye. Spence has a cut over his eye. And one judge gives it to Brook. One judge gives it to Spence. Another judge gives it to Brook. So this is so now we have Kell Brook up by 6 points, and he's going to certainly target that eye on Errol Spence. And so Errol Spence may be feeling a sense of urgency here. And this is when fights really get interesting, because will Errol Spence be able to use that urgency to his favor? And wow, Brook wobbling, and will Spence be able to use that urgency to his favor and negate Kell Brook, stop him or outbox him? Or will Brook, just target that and stop him and hurt him? And wow, Errol Spence being dropped, undefeated Errol Spence being dropped by Kell Brook. He's cut, and Kell Brook does have more experience on the world stage. Is this too much for Kell Brook? Maybe. It certainly is a level jump, but a level jump that I think that he is and was ready for, and has shown that he is, even though he just got dropped. He just right now, he's getting kind of busted up by Kell Brook. And the question is, will Kell Brook start to tire, and will that allow Errol Spence to get back into the fight? Kell Brook has a decent lead. I don't know if it's the greatest lead or the elite. I mean, it's certainly not insurmountable. And Spence has Kell Brook against the ropes. The question is Kell Brook sort of toying with him now? Is Kell Brook wanting him to come forward so he can counterpunch him? He just landed 2 hard shots. Although Brook goes into the ropes, look at Errol Spence fighting with all the heart in the world. This guy's 3 years younger, undefeated, and wow, this is one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in this game on Boxing Time TV. And since I've been playing this game since like '83 or '84. So yeah, I've been around a while, but did not really start following boxing until I'm gonna say '88. 87, 88 was the Tyson Spinks fight. If you watch that fight, you'll find out the whole story of that fight, because I did another I did a simulation of that fight, which I think that you'll find very, very interesting. Doesn't go the way that you think it's going to go. I matched them at different points in their careers. Kell Brook roaring back against Errol Spence, although Spence did really, really well after being knocked down. He's just got to get back to his groove of, making a southpaw style work for him and counterpunching Kell Brook. And man, Kell Brook going to the body, starting to bust him up. We're heading into the championship rounds 10, 11, and 12. Let's see what the judges say now. Oh man, they're still saying both fighters are very tired. They're saying that Spence has a cut over his eye. 2 of the judges, all 3 judges giving Kell Brook that round by a 10-8 margin. I think it could have been 10-9 because I think that Spence came back into the fight, but now Kell Brook is up by a 12-point margin. They both come out and they don't really get too close to each other. These guys probably are tired. They have been fighting, and I think that coming down the stretch, it might slow here in the 10th or the 11th. Which, if Kell Brook is slowed enough, it could give Errol Spence enough time to, finesse and do some things to maybe get back into this fight a little bit if he can sort of take it away from Kell Brook, maybe steal it from him. But man, this has been a really good fight. And I think both of these guys may be saving it up for like a big 11th or 12th round. But man, Brook just taking a lot of really good shots and fighting, just the fight that he had in him, going up against this undefeated guy and figuring him out at times and being able to land and being able to sort of draw him out. It's just impressive. It's really, really impressive. Especially coming off of a fight with Gennady Golovkin that he lost. Nobody would have faulted him for taking a softer touch, but he came back right in the mix and he's showing his relevance in boxing so far. But the fight's not over. And Errol Spence is very, very capable of doing something. These guys aren't doing anything here. This is people are probably going to boo and want to, if this was a real fight, they would probably boo. But look at that, Errol Spence flurrying and just trying to steal this round. And but these guys really aren't doing anything. Oh wow, Errol Spence landing a right hand there. If Kell Brook is spent, and I don't think that he is. If he's spent, this is a good time for Errol Spence to just be at a distance, be on his bicycle. But who knows how much that body work from Kell Brook took out of Errol Spence. But if he is spent, this is the time for him to be on his bicycle, jab, not get hit with punches like that, and do everything that he can to steal this from the judges. Because if he only wins the next round by 10-9, Kell Brook still wins this because Kell Brook's up by 12 points. So, we're in the final minute of the 10th round, and this round's moving quick, but Errol Spence is gonna need to do something. He's gonna need to score a knockdown. He's gonna need to be very, very dominant. Maybe not needing a knockdown, maybe not even needing a knockout, but he's gonna need to be dominant. And that's assuming the judges are gonna give him these rounds. And he seems to have been busier in this round, but both fighters have to be tired. We're in the final 10 seconds. We're going to see what the judges say. Errol Spence on the left side of the screen, Kell Brook on the right. Still, fighters are both very tired, and Errol Spence now, as you see, beginning to mount an offense in that round. Oh wow, one judge giving it to Kell Brook. So wow. Okay, so this is an 11-point fight. This is an 11-point fight now, and Errol Spence coming out, trying to be rejuvenated, trying to do things against Kell Brook. Doesn't want to get hit by too many of those shots, but Kell Brook, master at drawing him in, master at the infighting in this game. When they get in close, that has been Kell Brook's bread and butter. So in many ways, he's negated a lot of the assets that Errol Spence has. All right, as you see right now, Errol Spence is just landing as much as he can, as best he can. Sorry, I was hearing some noises, so I left my room for a little bit. As you can see, Errol Spence just throwing some punches. Trying to throw more punches, trying to flurry, trying to steal this from Kell Brook, and he lands a right hand, and Kell Brook trying to come on a little bit, and I think this fight is ultimately, the way. Oh, look at that right there, landing a right hand. Errol Spence looking for answers. Kell Brook still trying to be in this fight, trying to, I don't know if he knows how ahead he is, because he's really ahead in this fight, yet he's still out there beating up on Errol Spence, or trying to beat up on Errol Spence, landing shots, and it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be really interesting to see. He's throwing a right hand. These guys are just crossing swords, and Errol Spence, though, if he loses this fight, he's gonna wish that he would have been busier in the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. He's gonna wish he would have let his hands go. Lands a nice uppercut there and a left hand, but more is needed, because I think Kell Brook certainly has done well in this 11th round as well, and it could easily go to, that round could easily go to him. So let's see what the judges say now. All right, they're saying that both fighters are tired, and that Errol Spence Jr. still has the cut above his eye. They made that round an even round. One judge giving it to Kell Brook. Errol Spence really needs a knockout now. He needed a knockout probably in the 11th. He is behind by 13 points. Actually, he's behind by, my math skills. Yeah, he's behind by 13. No. He's behind by, I can't even think right now. He's behind by 11 points, because, no, he's behind by 12. He's behind by 12 points. Spence going out there trying to land against Kell Brook, trying to hurt Kell Brook, and it's too much too late at this point. If I'm Kell Brook, I just, I don't know that I stand toe to toe. And the thing is, Errol Spence coming forward is Kell Brook's king. Kell Brook's just going to eat him up by doing this. But Spence has to do something. He can't just sit back and box. He has to do something, and this is, he's gonna learn from this. He's really gonna learn from this fight. He'll be a better fighter for this fight. But Kell Brook, I just think, has just done some things, and he's allowing himself to be moved against the ropes. The question is, can Errol Spence now use Kell Brook's aggressiveness against him. You know, both these guys took the 10th off. And then in that 11th round, it was just even as far as landing, as far as who won what. Errol Spence can win this round, but he's not going to win this round. He just gets hit with a hard left hand, but he hits Brook back. It's just, you know, Errol Spence needs to just go for it right now. And Brook, I don't know why he's still going for it against him, but maybe he just doesn't think Errol Spence is going to hurt him. And, oh, look at that. Oh, he wobbles. Oh, he wobbles him. He wobbles Errol Spence again. I'm telling you, Kell Brook loves it when fighters come forward. He loves being able to counterpunch him. He set Gennady Golovkin, a sick Gennady Golovkin up in their bout. We're now about in the final minute of this, the 12th round. We are in it now, and Kell Brook is just you know, cementing his victory. You know, if he were to score another knockdown, if he were to knock out Errol Spence, you know, that really would be impressive. But a decision victory is very impressive too. If Errol Spence can somehow put something together and manage to knock down Kell Brook or knock him out, that would be impressive too, and that would certainly bode well for him. But he's just behind by too many points at this point in the fight. And, you know, as we come down to the final, 20 seconds, you know, it's not looking good for Errol Spence. He fought a very good fight. He will learn from this. He's picking Kell Brook apart. He just wasn't busy enough, and he just, you know, got outworked at points. And Kell Brook fought a really, really good fight. We're going to find out from the judges what the particulars are here. Once again, my name is Evan Jacobs. You've been watching Boxing Time TV. Follow me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. Let me know in the comments other fights that you want to see. Share the page. Tell your friends. And please subscribe. Please. Kell Brook decision. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. The winner is Kell Brook by a decision. The fight lasted 12 rounds. Errol Spence Jr. was knocked out one time. Now he has a gash over his eye. Maybe that was hindering him. Blood coming into his eyes. Brook was not knocked down. One judge had it for Kell Brook, 16-13. Another judge had it even. Interesting scorecard. Another judge had it even. So this is a majority decision. And another judge had it for Kell Brook, 19-11. So very interesting scorecards, but Kell Brook ultimately does it. Well, you know, wondering now how it's going to be when these two really fight. Hopefully it happens very soon. Once again, my name is Evan Jacobs. Follow me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. You've been watching Boxing Time TV, and we will see you next time. Kell Brook taking a majority decision over Errol Spence Jr.